Minnesota Vikings have become a finesse team in both trenches up front, straight up, especially along the offensive line. And yes, I love me some outside zone scheme. I think Ezra Cleveland, Garrett Bradbury, and Brian O'Neill are going to be big parts of this offensive line for many years going forward, hopefully, right? And Dalvin Cook has become one of the best running backs in the National Football League, and you cannot deny the beauty of it in the open field. Everyone on the offensive line taking that lateral flat step, and then Dalvin cut, bang, bounce, finding that hole and just putting his foot in the ground and get some. It's great, right? But how many times this year, and it's driven me nuts, have the Vikings had either a yard or an inch to go, and maybe you could secure the game, and then just didn't get it? Quite a few. It's frustrating. The offensive line just could not get that push inside against grown-ass men, and they suffered. They did. And that is still the name of the game. Even though the NFL is opening up as a passing league, can you move and redefine the line of scrimmage? Can you push the LOS to the other side of that defense? Can you do that? That is still important, and that still is going to be the big determinant if you win or lose on a given day. But that is the trade-off for having undersized but faster, more athletic offensive linemen. Movement is the best part of Garrett Bradbury's game. Ezra Cleveland, absolute physical freak, but he's light and he doesn't play with enough leverage. He is a left tackle playing right guard. I'll go to my grave saying that. Now that's what's going to happen. So when I'm 124, because I'm the picture of health, it's going to be like, beep, boop. Ezra Cleveland's left tackle. That's what it's going to be. And Dakota Dozier is also the name of a person, right? But I feel like the Vikings have gone too far. They've gone too out of their way investing in outside zone scheme as opposed to just taking great players, right? And I think fans have done that too, because plenty of quality offensive linemen were just sort of poo-pooed away because not a scheme fit, not athletic enough. And we've been guilty of this too, as well as fans, as well as potentially the Vikings personnel decision makers, because Will Hernandez is probably case zero or patient zero of all this. Orlando Brown Jr., Nate Davis, Elton Jenkins, Eric McCoy, Robert Hunt, all guys that I loved, but were just like, better in a man gap scheme, not really outside zone, not really this, not really that. Now, I think that there have been so many just great power, block out the sun, great anchor, not going to be pushed around offensive linemen that the team didn't take or perhaps didn't even consider because scheme. And that's wrong. It's wrong because we forget. Get good players, whether they're zone or gap, and then cater your system to them. And also remember, just because the Vikings are a primarily outside zone team, I mean, that's what? They run outside zone 60% of the running plays. The rest of it is going to be power. So that still matters. And especially in short yardage, I mean, what are we going to do? Run outside zone from the one? I mean, you can, but there's just something about man-on-man, one-on-one, push the line of scrimmage into the end zone. Hey, we're going to take this yard. You don't want to give up this yard. We're going to take it. And that is still football at its core. And it would be nice to have a pair of guards who do not see ground on every single damn third down in one-on-one against man-sized defensive interiors. Will be kind of nice. Plus, also, we talked about Kubiak and Dennison in that outside zone scheme. But back in the 90s, back in Denver, so Kubiak, Shanahan, as well as outside zone pioneer O-line coach Alex Gibbs moved to outside zone out of necessity because no one asked Tom Nalen and Mark Schlereth and the rest of the offensive line to be under 290 pounds, including the tackles, which is pretty damn amazing. Now, I'm sure they would rather had the Washington Hogs, just like Schlereth's old team, just running counter tray every single play, power football, great. I mean, Joe Gibbs, that's his legacy. I love it. But they made it work. Just ask Terrell Davis, just ask John Elway if that worked out. It did. But again, it was more out of necessity as opposed to design. Also, I remember, the 2009 Vikings offensive line, like 5,000 pounds of amazingness. So McKinney and Lodeholt were the tackles. I mean, they're listed in the 350s, but I mean, they were $4 bills if they were an ounce, especially as the season went along, man. Then you had Hutch, Sully, and Herrera as the interior, and they were stout AF. I mean, Sully was the runt of the litter, right? And yes, similar weight to the current offensive line, but you tell me who has a better anchor, Hall of Famer Steve Hutchinson or Dakota Dozier. You tell me who's going to win in an Oklahoma drill, Anthony Herrera or Ezra Cleveland. Who's going to hold that line, right? Now, there's a reason why Adrian Peterson was a beast those years early on in Minnesota. And yes, premier talent, one of the all-time greatest, but also that offensive line, man, just running power with a fullback, 44 dive, 43 dive. Woo, man, it was great. It was great. So I want to get back to putting an emphasis on size up front. You're not going to get rid of Bradbury. You're not going to get rid of O'Neal. You're not going to get rid of Ezra, obviously. But you need to start getting back to, we want size and strength, especially inside, especially at guard. But that's why we took Dickerson from Alabama and Jack Anderson from Texas Tech in our mock draft yesterday, because we want size, we want girth at both those guard spots. Surround Garrett Bradbury. You're not going to get rid of Bradbury, but surround him with two guards who are just going to throw dudes out of the club. It's going to make things a lot easier for Garrett. And get back to being that team that gets that yard or gets that inch when you need it, as opposed to just getting blown off the ball. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, love me the outside zone. It is a thing of beauty. You can put the classical music, dun 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 dun, and Dalvin is perfectly suited for. But you know what else Dalvin is perfectly suited for? Power football. Counter tray. Let's go. Power. Oh, woo. It's great. But also, all right, so outside zone is beautiful, but you know what else is beautiful? 24 blasts straight in the face of a defense from the 1 yard line. Come on. Right? So there's room for both. Right, so the Vikings need to refine their personnel requirements up front. Also, Bradbury, O'Neal, and Ezra need to eat like 10,000 clean calories a day, which sucks. But also, pancakes for breakfast, pancakes for lunch, pancakes for dinner, and a midnight snack. And then guess what? You get to eat pancakes on game day. Woo! Let's go. Plus, I miss punching the other team in the mouth from the one. And I miss not giving up pressure inside when the other team rushes for, right? Just the guard gets beat by the tackle and just rebuild the bully up front, and then let's see what happens. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, but your thoughts. Vikings offensive line beef. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work, post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.